No toilet paper in the Matrix.
Of course, the day we release our brackets, we find out the champion. There's technical difficulties.
Well,
is that a sign?
I don't know. Is it a sign?
Is that a sign? Is that a good or bad?
I don't know if that's a mascot.
University?
Is that a good or bad sign? Maybe they're so good they're breaking equipment, or they're so bad.
We'll see. Well, welcome to Wednesday at Crain & Company. Big show for you today. Got a lot to get to, but as usual, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn sitting to my left. My brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crain sitting to my right. And we're going to reveal our March Madness tournament selections. North Carolina absolutely destroyed San Diego State last night. And South Alabama head basketball coach Richie Riley is going to join us to share his frustrations with the NIT rescinding their tournament invitation and the disastrous apology that followed. But, Blaine, tell them about the chat before we get to these brackets.
Chat, what is up today is today. We found out the truth.
The day of days.
Hit that like and subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. All donations will get read at the end of the show. Multiple polls today. And the first one, obviously, is who has the best bracket. And if you're a smart man or woman, you'd go vote for me at the bottom of that. So go ahead. David, what's up with you, man? What's going on?
Are we going to take call-ins Friday? We should figure this out live here.
Because we're going to have games going on.
Before I tell people, because the games are going to be on. What do y'all want us to do Friday?
Yeah.
Do y'all want to watch along while we watch the games? Should we take call-ins?
That's what we got to do, right?
Y'all let us know what you want Friday.
Yeah, definitely. All right. It's the Wednesday edition of Crain & Company. Let's get this thing rolling. Lot to get to. Let's play the game. One of the most fun things to do in sports is to fill out your NCAA tournament bracket before the tournament starts, because everybody's is still perfect. Now, some people have superstitions that they follow with this. Other people stick to strict guidelines year by year to try and win their bracket pool or win wherever they're throwing their bracket. And I had a couple tips I wanted to throw out there to our audience that I use personally. Now, I'm not guaranteeing success with these, but I promise it's going to work. The first is, the upsets they're always talking about typically never happen. It's the upsets that nobody's talking about. I mean, right now, everybody's picking UC San Diego to beat Michigan or Yale to beat Texas A&M, but nobody's talking about the Grizzlies of Montana playing Wisconsin. Some people are pretty high on High Point. Some believe the Zips from Akron are going to run Arizona out of the gym, but not many people are talking about the ones on the periphery. So at the end of the day, don't just go with the popular upsets, because the teams that are picked to get upset, they've heard it all week. They're not going to sleep on the team that they're playing as much as they would have if nobody was talking about them. The second one is old guards matter. You've heard it here a long time. Old guards control pace. Old guards do not panic. Teams with older guards tend to go further in the tournament. My third tip, it's styles, not brands. Don't just look at the brand name and assume a team is going to win. Understand how one team plays versus another. Does a team like to slow the game down and limit shots? Do they play fast? That matters. It's not just about the logo. And last, but definitely not least, you must trust the signs. Maybe you saw a Blue Jay on your way to work today. Feel good about Creighton. Maybe somebody, dropped a gun walking out in front of a Kroger. Well, Texas Tech, probably going the Elite Eight. You must trust the signs around you, because they are all around you. And if you don't trust them, you're missing out on a great opportunity. David Cohn, what tips? Do you have a couple tips you would like to tell the good people before we reveal our bracket?
There are some fascinating trends going around, and I did want to ask you guys what you think about some of these. A couple of them are no team west of Texas has won the national championship in the last 27 years. Another good analytical stat is the national champion throughout this century at least has finished top 30 in KenPom on offense and top 40 on defense. I think that's a good one. Another random one that I've been seeing is every national champion for the last something like 25 or 30 years has been in the top 12 of the week 6 poll when they take the AP poll. So, and obviously you can whittle down teams, but at the end of the day, it's going to be one of these really good teams.
Blaine,
who wins it all.
Blaine,
what
do you have to tell the people out there?
One, the first thing, go with your gut. Trust your gut. Trust yourself. All right, you can get on here. You can turn a YouTube channel on. You can listen to us, say great things about certain teams, give you inside information. But when you're looking at that 12-5, when you're looking at that 13-4, it matters what's in here. All right? You can somewhat go with what's up here to a certain extent, but if your heart's telling you High Point versus Purdue, damn it, you take that. All right? If your heart's telling you Liberty versus Oregon, I want Liberty, damn it, you take that. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
It's the first thing you got to do.
That's good advice.
Thank you.
Good life advice overall. All right, so here's how we're going to go through this. We're going to tell you what we have region by region, starting with me. And guys, we're going to start in the South. So go ahead and put up on the screen who I have in the South. I've got my bracket beautifully filled out. I'm going to put this on social after the show today. Here's what I got. I got Auburn beating Louisville in the second round to go to the Sweet 16. I have Michigan beating A&M, I'm sorry, David, beating Michigan to play Auburn, all right, in the next round. I have Ole Miss, all right, beating North Carolina, and then Iowa State to go to the Sweet 16 to play Michigan State. And then I have Auburn playing Michigan State in the Elite Eight, and I have Auburn beating the Spartans of Michigan State. So it's pretty chalky here for me in the first round. Outside of, I have New Mexico beating Marquette and then losing to Michigan State. But once we get into this second round, I think Ole Miss takes out Iowa State. I think A&M takes out Michigan, and I got Auburn coming out of this region.
Man, I'm starting to get a little nervy about Ole Miss because I have them all the way to the Elite Eight as well. And now they're going to have to play that North Carolina team that we saw last night. I know we're going to talk about that, but I already hate my bracket, and I do most years like the day before the tournament starts. But this may be the most chalkish bracket I have, just in terms of 1 and 2 seeds going far. But I just wonder, in an era now where NIL really has a firm footing, if a lot of these bigger schools are going to be able to go farther in the tournament because of their monetary advantage, especially in a year where everyone made fun of Jay Williams for having 1 and 2 seeds in the Elite Eight. Is this a year where something like that can happen?
So you have Ole Miss going to the Elite Eight to play Auburn. I got Ole Miss losing to Michigan State.
So here's mine. Here's who I have making the second round: Auburn, Louisville, Michigan, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Iowa State, New Mexico, and Michigan State. And then in the Sweet 16, Auburn and Michigan. I'm just hoping that happens so that we can either live stream it or, I mean, at some point the Booster Club's going to have to hold us accountable. It may be the last show we ever do together if that happens. But that would be fun. And that's a tough Michigan apparently is going to play the best 12 seed to ever grace us in the tournament. And then if they win that, most likely going to have to play Texas A&M. So the path is not easy for Michigan to even get to play the number 1 seed Auburn. But then I have Ole Miss taking on Michigan State. How far can Tom Izzo take this team? I think a lot of people are wondering that, but a great regular season Big Ten champs. And then I do have an all SEC matchup in this Elite Eight, which would be Auburn and Ole Miss.
All right, Blaine, what do you got in the South region?
All right, let's get excited because I agree with you, David. I love my bracket until right when I write that national champion in. And then I immediately hate it. Immediately hate it. Every bracket I've ever made, every March Madness, wow, this is it. I'm just absolutely cooking in the kitchen, get to champion. This is going to be terrible.
Yeah, I'm exactly the opposite. I usually pick a horse. I know this is going to be my horse to win the national championship. And at that point, you got to get some luck involved anyway.
True.
It's like the 5-12s and the 7-10s. And
that's where you say.
And even the 14-3s or the 13-4s, it's like where, I don't know. Are you picking upsets just to pick them at that point?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you have to go with what? Your gut. And this is mine. This is all gut right here, baby. All right, give me Auburn. I mean, obviously, the spread came out as 31, and I don't even know that's enough against Alabama State.
Just win.
We'll see. Give me Creighton. I like Cockburner and the boys. I mean, you're huge. Ashworth is pretty good. And Neal, if they get hot from 3. I'm going with Michigan. I mean, at the end of the day, you have 2 7-footers rolling around, especially Wolf and Golden. Their pick and roll game's disgusting to me. If Michigan's going to lose, the other team they're playing has to shoot at least 40% from 3. The only way. Then I'm taking Yale. Give me Yale versus A&M.
So you're doing it.
I get scared. I get scared when A&M plays just from a shooting standpoint. They're so inefficient. They can't score. Polakidis, Townsend, and all these guys, I promise you, they've been there before, and they can absolutely butter from 3. Then give me Ole Miss. Chris Beard, I love the coaching staff. I watched Ole Miss play a lot this year. They're a very good team.
So you got to beat Iowa State, too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Iowa State without Gilbert, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I just don't trust it. And look, the North Carolina stuff, we'll get to it. Still don't believe in it. San Diego State was the worst offensive team I've ever seen in my life. Then give me the Lobos.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Give me the Lobos. I can't wait to watch Dent and Cam and these guys go at it. Just their rebounding. That's where I think it's different. And obviously I'm going Tom Izzo and the boys. Flip it to the other side. Give me Duke.
Well, that's
Don't jump too far ahead, man.
I'm just getting excited.
You need to calm
Auburn,
down.
Michigan game. Auburn, Michigan game. This one was tough to pick for me. The only reason I'm taking Auburn, one, Janai Broom, more finesse big. I think he can get through the 7-footers, and the guard play with Michigan scares me. Then give me Michigan State over Ole Miss. The depth of Michigan State. I mean, they basically have a 10-man rotation.
Yeah.
And that's tough, especially with Little Richardson on the team.
All right, now we're going to go over to the East. So give me that same bracket there, Justine. Going to go over to the East here. Here's what I've got. Duke, surprise, surprise. I've got Mississippi State beating Baylor. All right, look, I love me some Rob Wright. I think Mississippi State's physicality down low. Give me Chris Jans. I've got Oregon playing Arizona. No upsets there. Everybody's talking about Liberty beating Oregon. Everybody's talking about Akron beating Arizona. I'm not taking it. Then I've got BYU playing Wisconsin, so they both advance. Then I've got Vandy beating St. Mary's. And everybody's in love with St. Mary's this time of year. I get it, all right? It's about as good as a 5 white guys can play on a basketball court at this level in 2025. It's about as good as it gets, okay, for some exciting whites. But at the end of the day, I think Vanderbilt is too much. I love I know they're undersized down low, but McLaughlin, Carey, Tyler Nickel from 3 is an absolute splash festival. And I've got Vandy playing Bama, Vandy losing to Bama, and then Bama beating BYU. I have BYU beating Wisconsin. I've got Arizona losing to Duke after they beat Oregon. Then I have Duke beating Alabama to come out of the East. So that means I have Auburn and Duke in the Final Four so far. So no real big upsets here either. The biggest one is Vandy over St. Mary's, the 10-7. Outside of that, I think it's pretty chalky, Cone.
Yeah, I have Duke winning their first game regardless if Cooper Flag's available. Then I only crossed out 2 picks from the first round. This was one of them. Initially, I had Mississippi State, but I put Baylor going to the second round to face Duke there. I have Oregon, the 5 seed, moving forward. Oregon feels like one of those 5 seeds. They're either going to lose in the first round or they're going to win multiple games. I'm going with the latter here. Then I have Arizona, BYU, Wisconsin. I also have Vandy in the 10-7 upset there, and Alabama. So for my Sweet 16, it would be Duke taking on Oregon. I have the Oregon upset over Arizona there. And then BYU, the 6th seed, another upset over Wisconsin. So that would be BYU and Bama. I have to go with Alabama in that game, and then I have Duke at the top. So a Duke-Alabama Elite 8 the same way you do. But again, Cooper Flag for Duke, Grant Nelson for Alabama. Let's stay tuned to how their health progresses for both those guys.
Without a doubt. All right, Blaine.
All right, let's do it. Pull it up. I mean, Duke is going to absolutely murder whoever they play in the first round. Then give me Baylor over Mississippi State.
Okay, so y'all two are riding with Baylor.
Yep, riding with Baylor here.
Chris Jans, don't let me down. I went to the Starkville Derby, dog.
Shout out my girlfriend's mother. That's one of the reasons why I took that. And then give me Liberty over Oregon. Give me Liberty or give me death. Look, I love what Oregon does, but they've been so inconsistent the entire year. Brittle and Stad, they're both good players. But the way Liberty plays, they slow down the pace and just absolutely kills you for possession. Then give me Arizona to win that. I'm taking BYU over Wisconsin.
I'm with you.
The battle of fundamentals in this game is going to come down to who can shoot the 3 better. Then give me St. Mary's over Vandy. Look, trust in the process for your St. Mary's. You play a certain way. I don't think Vandy's going to be ready for that. Then give me Alabama to beat St. Mary's, and it's Alabama BYU. Alabama's just more athletic. BYU won't be able to keep up with them. Then Arizona Duke. Cooper Flag is the difference in this game. He's the reason. What's up?
I was just going to add, no, go ahead and finish.
Cooper Flag's reason he's going number 1 in the draft. He'll be the difference why they beat Arizona. I still think Arizona has a phenomenal team. Then it's Duke, Bama.
Yeah.
Duke, Cooper Flag, going.
Do you have BYU playing Alabama as well?
I have BYU playing Bama as well.
Oh, man, now I hate it because we all have it.
Now, look, but that means if we're all right, like every one of us is right. I'm good with that.
Do we ever go 3 for 3?
We're about to. Okay. That's the way I'm feeling about it.
Now. All right, so we really like BYU over Wisconsin. Do you have Wisconsin moving forward over Montana? Or
I've got Wisconsin beating Montana.
Okay,
yes,
okay. So that would be a 6-3 upset in the second round for BYU. That's what I have. I mean, that BYU team, what they win their last, was it 9 in a row before they played Houston in the Big 12 tournament championship game, which Houston really handled them, but Houston's
That's true.
good.
So we have both 6 seeds in the South and the East doing pretty well. So Ole Miss over here in the South, and then obviously BYU in the East. All right, let's go down to the bottom. Bring up my West. All right, here we go. This is where it gets a little weird for your boy.
Really?
Here's what I got. I got Florida coming out of it, okay? Shocker, not a shocker there. But I've got Connecticut beating Oklahoma. I just think Terrace Reed down low, Oklahoma. I don't trust that white boy they got down there. I don't think he's creative enough. I don't think he's tough enough. Then give me Colorado State over Memphis. Give me Maryland over Grand Canyon. I got Colorado State beating Maryland. I know Maryland's played really well. The Crab Five, that's a cool nickname, but this isn't about cool nicknames. It's about who can win. Styles make fights. I like what Clifford does. I love how physical Colorado State's down low. I think they can manage themselves with Queen. Then I got Missouri going all the way to the Elite Eight. That's fine. Fight me. Everybody's picking Drake to win this game. I'm not falling for the Drake trap again. I'm not doing it. I've trusted them the past couple years. I'm not letting them break my heart again. I've got Missouri beating Drake. Then I've got Missouri beating Texas Tech. Then I've got Missouri beating St. John's. That's right, Caleb Grill. It's Mitchell. If he plays, Missouri can really do this. If he doesn't, it's going to be tougher. But I've got Kansas beating Arkansas because Adu Thiero is out for Arkansas. I think they're cooked down low because Jonas Adu does not play good against other good bigs. And Dickinson's 38 years old and been playing in college football or college basketball since they had peach baskets in the goals. So I've got Missouri playing Florida in the Elite Eight. I have Florida advancing. But I got it. This is kind of my upset side here a little bit, guys.
Yeah, I have a couple questions, but bring mine up first. Florida's my horse this year, so obviously I have them win in the first round game. And then this was the second of the two games that I scratched out initially. First, I went with Oklahoma in that 8-9 matchup, but I'm going to go with UConn right now, and I can't wait for this basketball game. I don't feel great about it, but I'm going to go with UConn taking on Florida in the second round. Then I have Memphis, Maryland, Missouri, Texas Tech, Arkansas with the 10-7 upset there over Kansas and St. John's. Florida, Maryland playing in the Sweet 16 at the top of that bracket there, and then Missouri and St. John's. I took a flyer on Missouri over Texas Tech because I believe so much in St. John's making it to the Elite Eight. I was going to have St. John's beating no matter who it was there. So I took a flyer on Missouri, and then Florida and St. John's in the Elite Eight in that regional final there. But I do have a question. Sell me on Colorado State here because you have them in the Sweet 16.
Right. No, I got them losing to Florida in the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I just, when you talk about a team that plays clean, Colorado State runs really, really good offense. They know who they are. I think they're physical down low, physical enough, and Clifford is an elite guard that not enough people have heard about, but he's not all they have. I think their roles are very defined. I think teams that don't turn the ball over, teams that rebound, and teams that have creative guards that can shoot and slash have a chance to advance. And look, Maryland's playing really good basketball.
Maryland's a tough out.
They're a really tough out. You look at Miguel, you look at the shooters that they have. They got guys down low that can do it, but I just think this Colorado State team, I think they're built for the tournament. That's why I got them. That's one of the biggest upsets that I have because they are a 12 seed, even though they are the favorite over Memphis.
All right, how about you in the West?
All right, let's do it. Bring it up. Let's lock in. Let's really lock in here. Obviously, what Florida's going to do, the Norfolk State should be illegal in most of the states in the United States. Then give me UConn over Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma in this game. I like Porter and the boys, but I think UConn's good, but I think Dan Hurley's that good of a coach that they can get at least one win. Now, I'm going Memphis over Colorado State. I think Colorado State's a great story. I mean, I think they have three players who are really good, and obviously their best is going to be a lottery pick. But I do think what Memphis does with Flaherty and Dean down low,
keep her flag on the bracket.
I think that'll be the difference. If you watch Memphis this year, they can score at such an efficient rate. So I'm going with them. And then I believe I'm going to go with the Crab Five. If your nickname's the Crab Five, there's no way you don't make a run in the tournament. You said the tournament's not about nicknames. I think it is. I think a certain nickname will get you at least a certain point in the tournament. So give me Maryland there. Then I'm going Missouri over Drake. Jake, I'm going to ride with you on that. Then I'm going Tech, absolutely killing Willington. Then I'm going to Arkansas over Kansas and St. John's over Omaha. Then give me Florida over Maryland. Florida's just a better basketball team and way too deep. Give me Texas Tech over St. John's. I just think Toppin will be the difference. Then give me Florida beating Tech.
So you're pretty chalky there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best
Texas Tech beating St. John's too. I'm glad one of us believes in Texas Tech.
Well, man, what they do, they're very efficient on offense. They shoot well from the three, and they're big down low. And the defense they play, I think it's good enough to beat St. John's. I really do.
All right.
Do you have Kansas or Arkansas?
I've got Kansas because Adu Thiero has been ruled out. That was
Arkansas
today for Arkansas, and he is their. To me, he's their physicality piece. Like again, you look at Adu's history, their center. He does not fare well against other. I think Dickinson could go for like 25 and 15 in this game. Now, if Kansas turns the ball over, look, I love what Arkansas has done down the stretch. Wagner's a really good player. I like the Billy Richmond kid they have, the young guy. I know Brazil's been kind of figuring out, but I just think Kansas gets past them in the first one. Then I've got them losing to St. John's. But all right, last one here. All right, then we're gonna get to the chat after we tell you this. Here's what I got in the Midwest. Okay, so send mine up there. I've got Houston playing Gonzaga. I wanted to pick Georgia in that game. I want to pick Georgia so badly, But Gonzaga is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. Georgia fouls the hell out of people. You look at what Gonzaga has down low. I will say, though, if Ike, who averages 5.1 fouls every 40 minutes, gets in foul trouble early in this game with Asa Newell and some of the pieces that Georgia has down low, this could get weird, but it always is going to come down to Blue Kane for me. I know Demery's going to show up, but can he show up? Yeah. Then I've got High Point beating Purdue. I do believe in this upset because I don't trust Purdue. You got that too?
Let's go, baby.
I love it. All right. I don't trust Purdue. They don't have that thing down low anymore. Coffin Wren's a good player, but he's not what they've had in the past. They're really bad when you're talking about giving up 2-pointers. High Point wants to play fast. They want to go up and down, and Purdue's got little guards. They've got little guards, and I don't trust little guards on defense, but High Point will lose to Clemson, and then Houston will beat Clemson in the Sweet 16 to go to the Elite Eight. I've got either Texas or Xavier beating Illinois. I just don't believe in Illinois. You've been too inconsistent. So give me Texas or Xavier. I personally think Texas wins that game tonight to play Kentucky. Troy just doesn't shoot it well enough. Then I've got Kentucky beating Texas or Xavier to play Tennessee, who will beat UCLA in the second round. Everybody's talking about Utah State. Wow, cool, great story, don't believe. Then I've got Tennessee beating Houston in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four, which gives me 3 SEC teams in the Final Four, Auburn, Florida, and Tennessee, as Duke is the only team that's not in the SEC in the Final Four.
Okay.
Bold strategy, Colin.
What it's going to be.
So you have UCLA. You're taking UCLA.
Taking UCLA.
Okay. Bring mine up. Let's go Houston, Gonzaga, Clemson, Purdue. Come on, Purdue. I'll believe in you. We can't lose to Fairleigh Dickinson and High Point in the first round in the same decade. Let's have a little pride there. I also have Illinois, Kentucky, Utah State, and Tennessee. So on the Utah State, I'm just realizing I have the 10 seed upsetting the 7 in all 4 regions. I think that's the first time I've ever had that. But also, I don't have a 5-12 upset. And again, I'm not forcing these things.
Don't force it.
Just trying to trust the signs here. Yeah. So in the Sweet 16, Houston, Clemson. Look, I really like this Clemson team. This is another one of those 5 seeds where I think like either you get bounced early or they go on a little run. I have Clemson taking on Houston in the Sweet 16, and then Kentucky and Tennessee. That would be the third matchup. And we talked about this. Kentucky beat Tennessee, twice this year? In both matchups. Third time, I think, is the charm for Tennessee. So I really want to see this Houston and Tennessee matchup in the Elite Eight. 2 great physical defenses, physical basketball teams. I think Tennessee probably can score a little bit better if they find themselves in that game. So I have Tennessee coming out of this region.
All right.
I love it, Dave. I love it. I really like what you did there. But let me show you exactly what it's going to be.
Okay.
Real quick. And it starts with Houston absolutely killing Edwardsville, poor guys. And Gonzaga. Jake, what do we love in the tournament?
I love old guards.
You love old guards. What does the Gonzaga have?
Old guards.
They got some old guards. I'm going Clemson. Half of their team is there from last year, and they're just bring your hard hat to work today type of team. And trust me, I can fall in love with a team like that. Then give me High Point, roll with the boys. Purdue, it's basically 24/7 open buffet when it comes to giving up 2s. You know what High Point does? Hey, can I eat here? Can I eat here? I love 2s. One of the most efficient teams in the country at shooting 2s. Give me High Point. Then I'm going. Jake, you said Texas or Xavier? So I kind of
Texas or Xavier.
So that kind of gives you the option.
Yeah.
Well,
I think either one of them.
Well, cool. I don't know how long you've been a sellout, but I'm going Texas, baby. Texas. Okay. Texas wins today, and we'll get to it a little bit further. Might have Texas and Rodney Terry on a run.
Is that why it's a basketball icon right there?
Don't blame me.
Because you have Texas all the way to the Sweet 16?
We got only one way to find out.
I like it.
All right, then give me Kentucky to beat Troy. Close game, though. Closer than what the experts think. I'm going UCLA. Don't believe in Utah State. Tennessee, poor Wofford. I don't care how long you can slow the game down. Y'all are going to get absolutely blitzed. Then give me Houston versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga, the whole middle school thing was cool until you face these guys. It looks like they all just got out of prison. Then give me Clemson versus High Point. Absolute ass beating for Clemson. Then I have Texas beating Kentucky in old SEC matchup. Sorry. Trey Johnson, hashtag the what?
Bucket.
And hashtag the what? The difference. The difference. All right.
Sorry. Said whatever word.
Yeah. Let me pick every word out of the
Texas beating Kentucky,
language.
then I have Tennessee beating UCLA. Then we go up to the top. I have Clemson beating Houston.
Wow. 5 seed in the Final Four.
They know how to get it done. Houston, a defensive team. I think the offense for Clemson shows out. Then Tennessee beats Texas. Tennessee has too much. Then I have Clemson
beating Houston and Tennessee.
Tennessee, they're on a run, boys.
Well, you have okay.
You have
so
Clemson
you and I have the
Four.
same Final Four then.
Yeah.
You and I have the same Final Four. Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Tennessee?
Yeah.
Is that right? And then in the championship, you have what?
I've got, go ahead and pull it up. Unfortunately, Florida's the only team that scares me as an Auburn fan in here. So I think they beat Auburn, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm 1,000% wrong. I think Tennessee beats Duke. I think we get a rematch of the SEC tournament championship game in the national championship, and Florida will win the
You're not
game.
taking your boys?
I'm going to go with Florida because I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be gloriously wrong if Auburn does it. So give me Florida beating Tennessee in the Natty.
Close, Jake. I also have Florida beating Auburn on that side of the Final Four, but then I'm going to go with this Duke team over Tennessee. Florida-Duke national championship, and the Florida Gators are going to cut down the nets 90-86.
Wow.
That ain't no guess.
That's a high score.
All right, that's what it's going to be. High scoring, Vicky Valancourt style.
What are you going to be wrong about, Blaine? What's yours?
Fly down the field.
No, you
Ever to conquer, ever to yield. Hey! War Eagle, fearless and true.
Hey!
Fight on, you won't.
You cooked us.
Go, go, go on to victory. Strike up the band.
Just don't play Yale.
Strike it up, Florida. Look, great team. Great team. Everyone thinks y'all are just going to walk through this tournament. Like no one else got a damn team, but there's a team down in Auburn, Alabama, and they're the what seed? The what seed?
They're a 1 seed.
The number 1 overall seed. I'm done being afraid. I'm done. I'm putting my feet on the hot coals, baby, and I'm walking across. Auburn beats Florida. Duke beats Clemson. And then Auburn, 88-84 in the Natty.
God, I hope you're right.
Champions.
I hope you're right. Y'all got to give me a couple days if he's right. I'm just telling you.
You're going to need a couple days?
Yeah.
I'm done being afraid.
Yeah.
Is this a chalk year?
I think it's a chalk year.
Is it a chalk year?
It's a chalk year. But let's get to the chat and see what they think.
All right, let's go to a $20 donation from the Zag, man. Appreciate it. Is it just me, or does Gonzaga feel like it's getting disrespected again? Y'all know we're going to be elite every year.
You got to give credit. Like, Gonzaga's made the Sweet 16 like every year since like 2015 or something nuts like that when they've been in the tournament. But this Gonzaga team should be better. Nolan Hickman's got to figure it out. EK can't foul. That Georgia game, I'm just telling you right now, that Georgia game is weird. It's a weird game, especially if EK gets in foul trouble. But look, Nemhard, I expect Mark Few to show up. I mean, Mike White's 4-0 in first-round games. So you've got, Mark Few and Mike White, there's some trends here in the past, even though I'm not a huge trends guy. I don't know if disrespect's the word. Gonzaga, you look at their losses. I mean, they have, 8 losses, something like that? Yeah, they're close, but Santa Clara, some of these other teams, I don't know. They don't look like Gonzaga of the past.
$5 donation from Mike P. Appreciate it, Mike. He says, UC San Diego, I don't get all the hype. Michigan's about to roll these boys. They have 2 7-footers.
Come on. 2 7-footers on the pick and roll.
Everybody keeps talking about it. Like, Michigan has probably heard this every day. That's what I'm saying. Don't pick the upsets everybody else is picking. All everybody said is this and that about UC San Diego. Michigan's going to think they're playing the 90s Bulls.
Yeah, that's how we should go into every single game and let's limit those turnovers.
Let's go to a $5 donation from the Mizzou Mafia. Drake, that's cute. Missouri plays in the SEC. This is about to be a reality check for Drake. I knew I liked that guy in the middle.
I'm telling you, don't let me down, Dennis Gates. Don't let me down. I'm believing y'all. Elite 8. I got y'all beating St. John's, all right, which is like the Catholic Church. Don't let me down.
$5 donation from Ashton. Appreciate it, Ashton. He says, is Kentucky going to get put out in the first round again? Troy, not an easy out.
Not an easy out, but just, God, offensively they struggle, man. They struggle on offense. I like Kentucky to get past the first round. I got them going to the Sweet 16 and then losing to Tennessee. But let's get to the poll here.
All right, the poll. Who has the best bracket? Jake, David, or Blaine? Pretty tight here, fellas.
I'm going to say they said David. 38%.
I'll say they said Jake, 43%.
Thank you.
Jake, 35%.
Okay.
David, 31%.
Okay.
Blaine, 34%.
Wow. That's tight. Me and yours
Unless
are really
you want to
similar.
vote right now before I close the poll. And you
we got to get Coach Riley on here. We got to get Coach. We're going to get him on here in 1 second. But regardless of what your bracket looks like, I'm going to tell you who would win the NCAA tournament of meats.
Oh, yeah.
And that's our friends over at Good Ranchers. And do you know when you sign up, you'll get free bacon, ground beef, seed oil, free chicken nuggets, or wild-caught salmon in every order for a year, plus $40 off with code BOOSTER. That may be the greatest deal in the history of the human race when it comes to food. All right? So unless you enjoy mystery meat roulette, all right, or what we called cafeteria food where I grew up, you need to visit goodranchers.com today and use code BOOSTER to get free meat for a year and $40 off your first order. It's sourced by American farms and American families, so you know it's a fantastic product. And again, I want to read that deal just one more time because I think it's fantastic before we get Coach Riley on here. When you sign up, so when you go to goodranchers.com and use code BOOSTER, you'll get free bacon, ground beef, seed oil-free chicken nuggets, or wild-caught salmon in every order for a year, plus $40 off with code BOOSTER. It's goodranchers.com. Check them out. Use code BOOSTER. American meat delivered. All right, Coach Richie Riley of the South Alabama Jaguars, my alma mater. Coach Riley, first off, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I hate that it's kind of a sore subject we got to bring up, but what happened to you guys was nuts, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah, what an honor it is to be on your show, man. I love your show. I love the show.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
I love that you support your alma mater. You know, you tweeted at me multiple times, tweeted some stuff about South Alabama, and, you know, with the platform that you guys have, it means a lot.
Well, and you guys had an incredible year. I mean, the whole state of Alabama had an incredible year. You look at what you guys were able to accomplish, not only in the non-conference, but in the conference, winning, you know, finishing in first in the regular season. And I don't think people realize how good Sun Belt basketball is and has been for a while. It's been a nightmare to try and navigate through there. But if our audience doesn't know, Coach, can you kind of explain the situation that happened with the NIT that's kind of gone viral here over the last couple of days?
Yeah, it was one of the craziest ordeals I've ever dealt with. We felt like after the season ended, we got beaten in the semis by Arkansas State. We felt like we had a chance at the NIT. In the old days, or not the old days, a couple of years ago, the number one seed automatically gets in the league. That's not a thing anymore because they've monopolized this thing where they try to get as many Power Fives in as possible.
Yeah.
So when the Power Fives started saying they were not going to go to the NIT, a lot of them were going to the Crown, a lot of them just opted out of postseason if they didn't make the NCAA tournament. I felt pretty good about our chances. And so we didn't get in at 8:30. They did an announcement all on Twitter. So it was not the TV announcement that we're used to seeing. So I saw immediately we didn't get in. I felt like we should have been in our own merit with a 122, 123 net with the teams we'd beaten in the field. I felt like we should have been in. But about 9:30, an hour later, I just had already put it to bed, was not thinking about it anymore. I get a call from Keith Gill and those guys. And, you know, it was a situation where I was shocked. They said, "Do you want a spot in the NIT? You know, something's happened. There's a spot available. Do you want it?" And I immediately said, "Yeah." And I said, "Is this for sure, guys? Is this 100% sure? Are we in? Because I'm going to tell my team, you know, if we're in." And they both said, yeah. Dan Gavitt and Keith Gill both said, yeah. And congratulations. So I immediately set up a Zoom with my team, and they were ecstatic. We had a bunch of underdog guys, no NIL in that recruiting class, which is a novelty in college basketball. Won a championship like that. A bunch of underdog, great kids. So they were excited. They went straight to the gym, started shooting at 10 o'clock. It's 10 p.m. Waiting on our announcement who we were going to play. About 30 minutes, 45 minutes after that, Dan Gavitt and Keith Gill call me back and say, "Hey, you know, we made a mistake. You guys aren't in. We apologize that UC Riverside had figured out how to buy out of the CBI. And we're no longer in." And obviously there were some candid conversations back and forth for the next hour or so. But at the end of the day, you know, none of it came to fruition. We went from being in, our guys ecstatic, to me having to tell them they're not going to, the season's over the next morning. So it's a tough 24 hours. We're still feeling the effects of it some. And I just hate it for our team more than anything.
Well, Coach, before, and I know the other guys want to hop in here, was there any personal call to, was there an apology? I saw an apology on social media, which looked like something that you would chat GPT or copy and paste. Didn't seem very heartfelt to me. Was there anything else other than that social media apology that you got for everybody else to see? Because that's just inexcusable.
That was it. They called my athletic director, Joel Erdman, and issued an apology on behalf of the NCAA and the NIT to our school. I think they're going to send a letter. But, what I told them is, it's fine and well. I mean, you have to at this point. You got to do something. You got to put out a statement. I mean, that's just you have to when this thing got out like it did. But there's no handwritten apology or generated apology on Twitter that can make up for that. It's just inexcusable because it would be different if I would have called them and hey, can we get a spot? Is there anything you can do? And I said, well, let me see what we can do. And then I went back and prematurely told my team. It was with 100% certainty, a verbal agreement. And when I hung up the phone with them, I assumed we would be announced, and that's why I told my team.
Cone, how do you make that mistake? How unorganized do you have to be? These are my words, not Coach Riley's words, but that's comedically stupid to me. Well, I want to use other words, but I'm not going to say.
Coach, NIT or no NIT, congratulations on coaching a great group of champions and a great group of young men. I do want to say there are a lot of great teams from Alabama in this year's NCAA tournament. You got Auburn as the #1 overall seed, going to take on Alabama State now in an all-in-state matchup. Alabama's a 2 seed. You got Troy in this thing. Which one of these programs do you think can make it the furthest in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's basketball in our state this year was off the charts. We're obviously in a football state. We all know that.
Yeah.
Football is beloved here. I'm from Kentucky, so hoops is like football up in my neck of the woods where I grew up. But for us to be able to do that in basketball, I think it's a collection of really good coaches, really good programs, and a lot of really good players. We got arguably the 2 best teams in the country. I know everybody loves Duke and everybody loves Florida. Alabama's dangerous. Auburn is obviously very dangerous. Even though they've stumbled down the stretch here, I think both those guys get it right, and I think they both make a deep run and have a legitimate chance to be a national champion. And as far as Troy goes, I think they give Kentucky a fight. It's going to be tough. Those games are tough, but they scrap. And I heard you guys when I was waiting, talking about my offense. They're not the most dynamic offensive team, but they're very hard to play against. The way they defend you, how physical they are, how scrappy they are. They make the game messy a little bit, and sometimes that bothers some Power 5 opponents.
Can America withstand an Auburn and Alabama national champion?
David, forget America. I can't. I don't know if I'll be able to watch. It's like Blaine says, he'll punch 3 holes in the wall, and Auburn won by 2 touchdowns. It's like
it's not the same.
It would be legendary, but whoever won or whatever. When is the spring game in Alabama and Auburn? By the probably won't be talking about anymore.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if my heart can take it.
Well, I want to go back to the situation. Do you think this situation, what happened, highlights a bigger problem into with the way the postseason selections are handled?
Yeah, there's no question. There's way too much politics involved with these committees and how things are going. I think. It's hard to put together a 68-team field, for the big tournament. I get it. But when we're selecting like we did this year, there's a lot of bias. And I'm not going to get into what teams. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a lot of bias. And with the NIT, the same thing. I don't understand. The NIT, there's some financial components that go in the NIT. Like, for example, anything, I think, over 400 miles or something like that, they have to pay for your airfare. So if they can manipulate the bracket a certain way, that's a way to save money. The NIT doesn't have the financial, backing of the NCAA tournament, obviously. But I'll say this show's awesome, so there'll be some people who hear this. I say this all the time, so I got a platform here to say it. I think as a college basketball coach that has coached at every level, I've coached at every single level. I was an ACC assistant. I've been at the low major level. I'm a mid-major head coach now. I've been NAI, D2, I've been everywhere. What would solve a lot of problems, and SEC people are not going to want to hear this, but it's honesty, is you have to have a 500 or better record in your conference to be considered for an at-large bid. Now, if you win your conference tournament, you're in. That's the way it is, period. That's an automatic. But when we're letting teams in that have won a third of their conference games, that are good teams, don't get me wrong, really good teams, really good coaches, it's hard. What it does, it saturates the field, and now you're getting down to this bubble, and there's some really tough decisions where there would be more spots available if that was the requirement.
No, without a doubt. We see the same thing in college football. There's some really good 8-4 teams out there in college football, but that doesn't mean you get to make the playoff because you played in a hard conference. Playing a tough schedule matters, but winning games matters. That number in the win column in overall and conference record should matter. But, Coach, I will say, before we get you out of here, you know, I've watched you at South Alabama for a while, what you've done with the program down there, not just this year, but since your time's been down there, it's been really fun to watch. You've brought basketball back down there. I hate that this happened to you, but if any coach in any program can withstand a mistake like this, it's what you guys are building down there. And I know I speak for all Jag Nation when I say keep it going, man. You're really representing us fantastically.
Thanks so much. That means the world. I love Mobile. I love South Alabama. I wouldn't rather coach anywhere in the country. And being on your guys' show is an honor, man. I listen to you guys and love what you do. So keep doing what you're doing, and you got a fan here.
I appreciate it, man. Well, next time I'm down at Bluegill, I'll get some tuna dip.
Yeah, appreciate it, Coach.
Bluegill.
Coach Riley, appreciate
Let's
you,
do it.
man. All right, Richie Riley, head coach South Alabama, had a fantastic year, regardless of how bad the NIT screwed up, not understanding how things work. But guys, want to get to the chat real quick, and then we got some games tonight. We had some games last night I want to talk about quickly, and then we got a game tonight. We got 2 games tonight, but there's one game, Texas Xavier, I really want to dive into.
$5 donation from JJ. Appreciate it. He says, how the hell do you address your team after you get news like this?
I see, that's the part, and I'm sure if Coach Riley popped back in here, he'd say, that's the worst part about this. You had guys they thought their season was over. Some of them thought their careers were over. And hey, we're going to get in. They went to the gym at 10 o'clock at night. That's how excited they were. And then those clowns over there at the NIT say, oh, no, wait, sorry. We take back. You're Indian givers. Let's just be honest. That's what the NIT is. So that's the worst part to me, having to then tell your team you're not in twice. Twice. That's tough.
$5 donation from John Cash. Appreciate it. Says people don't realize the level of talent that walks around in the state of Alabama. South Alabama will be back in the NCAA tournament before you know it.
For sure. I mean, and again, you look, North Alabama almost made the tournament. I mean, South Alabama, if they'd have won the Sun Belt, they'd have made it. I know Troy's in. But the state of Alabama, man, I've said it, it's the golden age of basketball. But one more and let's move.
All right, $5 donation from Zach W. Appreciate it. Never watched South Alabama play this year, but I do know about this coach. It takes a lot of balls to come in here and say something bad about the SEC. #respect.
Hey, look, Coach Riley's going to tell you what he thinks. You know, good, bad, or indifferent, he's going to tell you what he thinks, and he's done a fantastic job down there. And got to get him back on because I'm sure they're going to be back in the tournament at the end of the day and here shortly. But last night, Cone, we had some good games.
Man, North Carolina claps back 95-68. RJ Davis. Can we just show some RJ Davis highlights while we have it?
Yeah.
God, I feel like this is RJ Davis' 15th NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Just, I mean, how do you stop
Maybe.
this?
Yeah,
Tell
I
your
mean,
story.
that's tough.
Splash. From the logo. I know
That's
the logo
setback.
kind of takes up most of the court now.
I mean, RJ's nasty. I mean, that's nothing new, though.
I see what you're doing. Here's what I want to say. First off, congrats to North Carolina for rallying the troops after all the hate that they caught, including from me, and beating San Diego State to death. But still, first off, San Diego State's offense is awful. I know it was one game, but like these guys struggled to dribble. Like, and I've seen San Diego State cook
last
in the past. That I don't know, like maybe it was San Diego State that shouldn't have been in there because they look absolutely outclassed. But I still think West Virginia should be in. Mm-hmm. Now, if North Carolina goes and wins 3 more games in a row, which I don't think they will, I really like Ole Miss in that game. I think it's a great bet on the board right now. I need to see what it's at, the spread for Ole Miss and North Carolina. But everybody's like, oh, well, now North Carolina deserved to be in.
Yeah.
No. I'm not going that far. San Diego State, you know, that was bad on offense, dude.
Yeah, a dominant win in the play-in game doesn't necessarily justify the selection process or how you ultimately made the tournament. And maybe even a deep run doesn't do that, right? Like North Carolina is still a good basketball team and a great program. They could go on a deep run and it still could be the case that they shouldn't have made it into the tournament. But that would sort of ease some of the justification for North Carolina fans and for the team. Like you said this week, it's not the team's fault.
No,
right?
It's not.
And I thought this would go one of 2 ways for North Carolina. Either they would cave under all of the public pressure of everyone saying you weren't worthy of the spot, or they would come out and do something similar to that, or maybe even make a little run. Now, they're going to have their hands full with Ole Miss, but that game's a lot more exciting now, let's be honest. I mean,
without a doubt.
Ole Miss and North Carolina.
Well, it gave us more to talk about in the North Carolina-San Diego State game than the actual game itself because it was such a bad game. So, listen, you dominate the playing game. That's like, you know, making out with a 3 and then thinking.
Well, they really needed this. Like, I didn't know. I haven't heard of another team that needed to win this bad when it comes to North Carolina. Not only for North Carolina's sake, but for the committee's sake. And not only did you win, you beat San Diego State to sleep.
Yeah.
It was a murder.
You shot 60% from three.
Yeah. What did they
that's
shoot?
like and they shot
The last
28%.
Cone said the last 2 minutes they couldn't miss.
Oh, San Diego State couldn't miss in the last 2 minutes. It got to the point where even North Carolina's calling timeout. All
I
right.
know, but the metrics have to matter. Like, even if North Carolina wins 3 games, like we have to have a certain type of metric that gets you.
Because how do you know West Virginia wouldn't have done that?
But that was not the most exciting basketball game of the evening. This whole tournament got started off with Alabama State with a game winner over St. Francis, and we have the clip.
Yeah, let's play this. Stop calling this a baseball pass. It's a football pass. There's no such thing as a baseball pass. It's just, man.
Must be March.
That just
It must be March.
And it's always 2 guys on the same team running into each other.
You know what they say in football during a Hail Mary on defense? Don't do what? Don't tip the ball up. Bat it down. Catch it
Basketball's
or
different.
bat it down. It is different, but you still don't tip it up. And if you're going to tip it forward. Like you tipped it back right to him. March got started. I mean, congrats to Tony Madlock and Alabama State. And now you get to play
The cool
Auburn.
thing about it is, like, there's a team in Auburn who's right now in the business of delivering out ass whoopings. And guess who's first on the list? It's Alabama State. Congrats.
Do you think there'll be any extra motivation for some of these kids on Alabama State? Hey, we didn't get recruited by Auburn.
Yeah.
Maybe
David.
I heard there's a lot of
story.
motivation for that Notre Dame team in the tunnel, and then they saw Alabama.
What's that?
And then it didn't matter.
What's that? They can bring Alabama State. What's that motivational speaker with the huge face? His head's huge. What's his name? Like Tony
Robbins?
Tony Robb. They can bring in Inky Johnson, Tony Robbins, and Derek, whatever his name is, the motivational speaker to talk to him before the game. I don't think that's going to help. Now, if Auburn loses, that's going to be clipped.
Oh, yeah, y'all can clip this. If Auburn loses.
Yeah, if Auburn loses, I'll deserve it.
If Auburn loses
walk
after
away.
being a 31-point favorite, then look.
I'll burn it down myself.
Have your victory lap. That's
But
great for Alabama State.
Great for Alabama State. Great for Alabama
Fantastic.
State. That was a hell of a game. I personally kind of wanted St. Francis after I saw it down low. Kind of not that Alabama State's great in the front court, but when I saw what St. Francis had, I was like, please, Janai Bruma score.
And look, I'm not trying to
Don't
punch down here.
Don't punch down.
But I knew in the first 45 seconds
I did too.
of that game that Auburn was going to kill both these
Yeah, I was watching like Oh Boy off that show where he's in the ad agency. What is it?
Mad Men?
Mad Men, like smoking the cigarette in the movie theater. That's how I was watching the rest of that game. But there's a fantastic game on tonight. American versus Mount St. No, I'm just kidding. It's Texas and Xavier. Tony, what are your early inklings? Because I want to break this one down before we get back.
Trey Johnson?
Trey Johnson.
I like Trey Johnson when he shoots the basketball.
He's so good.
A little surprised to see Xavier minus 3.5 right now on the line. Over under is 151.5 on the point line. Are you taking Texas with the points?
I'm
or you don't want to
taking
give your bets
Texas
away?
money line. Can we bring that picture
money
back
line?
up real quick? That first picture back up. I've got to say this. I feel like if Winston Churchill and Gus Fring from Breaking Bad had a child, it would be Rodney Terry.
Serious Gus Fring vibe.
So, dude, I thought it was him for the first, when he got hired at Texas. I thought they hired the guy that was running the chicken joint.
I thought it was Donatello.
Huh? I mean, look, at the end of the day, though, when I look at this Texas Xavier game, if you have not seen Xavier play, they've got some guys that can absolutely shoot the lights.
Fremantle's a dog.
Fremantle's a dog. He does everything for him. But this Ryan Conwell kid can absolutely stroke it from three. Xavier, really good at the free throw line. Texas, last in the SEC on putting teams at the free throw line. A lot of metrics point to Xavier. Close loss to Marquette. Texas finished kind of in the bottom of the SEC. I'm riding with Texas in this game and the over. I think there's going to be a lot of points, possibly even overtime. But I think Weaver coming back for Texas has kind of made them tougher. But just like I've said, every time Texas plays, if Shedrick plays well, I'm not talking about just making free throws. If Shedrick can just play well down low, Texas will win this game. Because Trayvon Mark's been coming on here lately. All right?
Yep.
Kaluma and some of these other guys, they can score in bunches. Pope as well. It's not just Trey Johnson. I like Texas tonight, but I'm excited to see this litmus test of a lower tier SEC team versus a middle to little bit upper tier Big East team to try and feel out how I feel about my bracket after tonight. I cannot wait to watch this game.
And Texas finished 13th in the SEC.
13th. Yep.
13th. And I have Texas going to the Sweet 16 because of one reason only. And that's Trey Johnson. Like, I'm telling you, like, lottery pick, first of all. Like, this kid is an NBA player walking around. In Texas, don't be fooled by the record. All right, really like Texas from 1 to 5, pretty damn good. Pretty solid, and they got some depth at the bench. Watching Xavier a little bit, I think it's just going to come down to stars. That's what it's going to come down to. Fremantle, Trey Johnson.
Who can cover Trey Johnson?
Who's the big? Nobody.
Who can cover him?
Do you double him?
I mean, you do. Pope will kill you.
I mean,
Mark will drive and
Kaluma will kill you too.
Yeah, if Kaluma's hot, then, I mean, he scored like 30 against Auburn and then didn't even get close up the rest of the season. But I like Texas tonight, and I do like the over. Let's get to the chat quickly. I want to get to bets.
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Sir Timothy. Appreciate it. It says, guys, maybe I'm insane, but I'm taking Drake to the Sweet 16.
You just do this every year. Just every year. And look, Drake, fantastic program. Their coach does a great job. Coach for him did a great job. It's a great step-up place, too, as I don't want to call them a stepping stone university, but you can really platform yourself. I'm just not falling for it again this year. I'm not doing it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times.
Can't get fooled again.
You can't get fooled again.
$2 donation from Terrence. Appreciate it, Terrence. Let's go Illinois. Guys, why are you not high on my boys?
Because I think Illinois is super inconsistent. I love that y'all's team is basically a NATO meeting, right? I think Bothwell does some nice things. I just cannot trust Illinois with what I've seen this season. Beginning of the year, I'm like, man, this team could be a Final Four team. And now it's just been kind of,
Y'all have them losing in the first round? Or
I've got them losing in the first round, Cone.
You do?
I got them losing in the first round. I've got them losing to either Texas or Xavier. I think Texas or Xavier beats them. And then I got Kentucky beating Texas or Xavier and going to the Sweet 16.
You have Kentucky beating Illinois? No, you have Texas all the way.
I have Texas, I have Texas beating Illinois, then Texas beating Kentucky.
Damn, that Texas-Kentucky game, I'll take that over again. Watch.
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Boiler for Life. Appreciate it. He says, guys, I am hella worried about this game. I feel like if we could win this and get comfortable, we might be good enough to make a run.
Purdue fans are incredibly smart when it comes to basketball. And I've got a couple buddies that are Purdue fans, believe it or not. There's some people from Indiana that go to South Alabama. I knew in college. They don't trust Purdue either. I don't trust Purdue. And I watched Purdue beat Alabama. I watched Auburn beat Purdue to death in Birmingham. But when I look at Purdue, again, Kaufman-Renn, down low, he's a good player. He's a good player, but he's not what they've had in the past. And when you look around, Braden Smith, great small guard, lawyer, can get hot shooting the ball. I mean, they got the Colvin kid who's young, I think is talented. I think Purdue's guards aren't very good defensively, and I think this high point matchup is just bad. I think it's just bad. Then if you win that when you get in the second round, congrats, you get Clemson, who basically just turns it into a UFC fight with Shefflin, who looks like he should be playing for Gonzaga. Like he just got done at the Y, and now he's going to go pick his kids up from the carpool lane in kindergarten. It's tough.
$5 donation from the Zinger. Appreciate it. He says, guys, Akron is a nightmare matchup. They might be the team that could bust everybody's bracket.
A lot of people are high on the Zips. And
I'll have Akron.
I don't have. I've got Caleb Love in Arizona. I think they're playing pretty good right now. And believe me, y'all know what I think about Caleb Love. I think he can shoot your ass out of a game real quick. But when he's hitting, it seems like the rest of that team kind of gets going. But all right, I got to get to bets. We're running out of time here, fellas. Oh, my right leg's asleep. Let's get to bets. Here's what I got tonight. Put it up there. Texas plus 3.5 at minus 118. You mean to tell me that you're going to give Xavier really 4 points against this Texas team? The disrespect is palpable. Give me the Longhorns. I don't think you'd be crazy to take a money line either. And then American versus Mount St. Mary's, which sounds like a battle during the Revolutionary War. I'm taking the over 129.5, going off at minus 110. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? Like 66, 65, man. Like, let's just do that.
Yeah, I'll go Texas with the points as well. Should be a great basketball game. That's 3.5. I got it at minus 110. And then I'm going to go with American, minus 2.5, minus 110. Look, if you're named after our country, I'll believe in you.
No. All right, fellas, I love it. I'm also going Texas. Well, it should be Texas plus 3.5, minus 108. They give me the over in that game at 151.5, going off minus 150.
You got Texas at plus 3.5, minus 108?
Minus 110.
Minus 110.
Not minus
okay, I was about to say. All right, and who are you taking the over on? The Texas Xavier game?
Yep.
All right, 151.5. All right, Ace, what do we got? He's taking the over too, 151.5 at minus 110 for Texas and Xavier, and he's going to take the over at 128 for American and Mount St. Mary's. Let's get it going, both of those playing games. It matters. The NCAA tournament is here. All right, let's get to the donos. Get up, out.
We run through these donations. $5 donation from Dave. Appreciate it. Imagine not cheering for a team named American. You're literally not American if you cheer for the other team tonight. You have a point. $5 donation from Justin. Appreciate it. Who do y'all think will be the head coach at Nova next year? I'm hearing Mick Cronin as a dark horse.
Well, I just hope he doesn't hate his team.
And Indiana just got West Virginia's.
Yeah, DeVries. It's been a bad couple of days.
That's crazy you bring that up. $5 donation from Ryan. Appreciate it. It's been a hell of a 48 hours to be a Mountaineer fan.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
$2 donation from the Armadillo Man. Should I bet the under on the women's playing games?
You have an
bet the
experiment.
under.
So tell them what you may do for the women's tournament.
I'm going to bet the under on the entire first round. Every game.
And just see how it goes?
Every game and just see how it goes. I feel like it's going to be a 70-30 split.
If it's 70-30, you straight up rob them.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go to a $5 donation from FJ. Appreciate it. Guards win in March. Gonzaga has a great backcourt with Hickman and Nimhard. Mr. Freeway.
Hickman's got to play better, though.
$5 donation from HB. I watched a Badger dance on top of David's house earlier today. Give me Wisconsin in the Final Four. $5 donation from Shane. As a UGA fan, it hurts me to say that I have Florida winning it all. I've got an all-SEC Final Four with Florida beating Tennessee to get to the title. $5 donation from Tim. Appreciate it. Can't wait for the SEC to fail and the Badgers to beat Bama. I'll be there watching, smiling, watching the downfall of the SEC and the SEC apologists freak out.
Like the downfall of the SEC in basketball, like that's the point where we've come to. It's like, man, I mean, like that's the biggest compliment you could give Greg Sankey. Like, I'm looking for the downfall of the SEC and the NCAA tournament basketball. Downfall? We just got here, dog. What do you mean?
Last donation of the day, a $5 donation from Jimmy. Appreciate it, Jimmy. He says, I hope the SEC outperforms in the bracket. I want to see Danny Cannell cry.
I think a lot of people do. What is success, though? Like, I've got 8 SEC teams in the Sweet 16. How many Sweet 16? Do you have to win the national championship and none of the other stuff matters? Like, is that the success?
I asked a Tennessee fan, I said, would you rather, all 3 out of the Final Four teams are SEC, but like Duke wins the national championship, or just one SEC team makes the whole tournament and wins it all? He said, I'll take the latter. I said, what if it's Florida? And he didn't answer.
I'll jump off the ladder.
Tennessee fans, it's tough. It's tough right there with Florida.
All right.
Are we done with donos? I have 2 closing thoughts real quick here, if I can go quickly. First off, my buddy Brandon Graham retired from the NFL after 15 seasons, won 2 Super Bowls with the Philadelphia Eagles. I had the great fortune to play with some terrific football players over the years. He might have been the best that I ever played with, certainly top 5, but somehow as great of a football player as Brandon Graham was, not just in high school and in college and in the NFL, all with the same franchise, somehow he was even a better person than he was a football player. So congratulations, BG, on an awesome career. And then the second one is our buddy David Pollock and his wife, Lindsay Pollock, was diagnosed with brain cancer. She underwent a 6-hour surgery. And so I've already reached out to David personally, but I just, for our whole community and our listeners, David, if there's anything that you need from us or from people who support this show, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Well,
love you, DP.
Yeah, and incredibly strong in his faith. And I mean, his wife, you talk about tough. You see in the reaction video after she got through that surgery, those Pollocks, they're tough people. And again, DP, we love you, brother, and we're all praying for you. We appreciate you joining the show. Shout out to Coach Richie Riley for hopping on. Got a great session of locker room talk for you tomorrow. And then we got the live show Friday, which, heck, may just end up turning to a watch-along the NCAA tournament, so we're going to do it anyway. We appreciate you guys and like the chances of Texas not showing up tonight against Xavier. That's right. I said it, Gus Frings, brother. We're going. Ooh, gone. That one made the highlight film.
Perfect bracket.
I'm sending that one out in the mail. That one's going on Huddle.
That one's going on Huddle.